I did not expect to be coming for Shakespeare in this.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Classic.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
No more hangers!
You thought you'd become a prostitute or a drug addict.
I used to love doggy chow. I used to love doggy chow too.
She's so evil, and she's only a podcaster. She's Crystal.
This is high school, Crystal. What is a friend anyway? I'm Sue Gives a Fuck.
And welcome to Camp Classics.
A thoughtful podcast about stupid movies.
Learn it.
Live it.
Love
it.
Every 2 weeks we are here discussing and rating some of the peaks and valleys in the genre of camp in the search for the campest of camp classics. Baby can't be here this week, so we are joined by the gorgeous Sue Gives a Fuck.
I'm doing my best to fill those size 22 shoes. That's
With
not European sizes.
And also, how's the odor of those shoes?
Oh, invigorating.
Where is baby? Well, let's just say she's in my trunk with a jawbreaker in her throat.
I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it.
Hi, Sue.
Hello,
How are you?
darling. I'm very well. Well, I've got a mild cold, but the show must go on.
I was saying before we started recording that it's kind of giving Britney Spears on Good Morning America, so you're in great company.
Good morning, America.
I thought I was the first person to have a cold, but it turns out, as with all things, Britney invented it.
Yep, she did. It's nice to have you back, though. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm so glad to be back. And while I've been gone, you have been just elevating and elevating.
Things have really kicked up a gear in recent months, I gotta say. So
I just feel absolutely unqualified to discuss a movie of which your recent guests have included the star and the director.
Yeah, we're all unqualified here, though, babes. Before we get into that little Easter egg, though, we do, of course, have a Gatreon where you can get a bonus episode every month. And our latest Gatreon episode is on Vamp, which is, of course, an 80s horror movie starring Grace Jones as a vampire stripper.
Gay rights!
So, you know, if that doesn't do enough for you, I don't know why you're even here listening. To be
No,
honest.
it literally ejaculated.
Yeah. We've got some new Gatreon members to shout out. We've got Sophie McClatchy, Meredith Craig, and Brandon Wetmore.
Oh,
I know. I'm glad you also feel intrigued by the name Wetmore.
oh, Brendan Wetmore. Oh, I think I might have seen some of his videos.
Yeah, it's giving 80s porn star for sure.
Whereas Sophie McClutchy is like a sort of Scottish comedy character, possibly sort of a Catherine Tate type of character.
Oh,
That's what I'm getting.
I hear that. I'm getting like, Scottish crime novelist.
Oh, is it? Oh, Sophie McClutchy. Oh, I just did a Yorkshire accent, didn't I? That's what I did there.
I don't
Sophie
know.
McClutchy.
Disgusting!
I'd also like to shout out Kate Julian, who cancelled her Patreon membership only to come crawling back and resubscribe. And that's the energy we love on this podcast. Keep us guessing, Kate. Keep us on our toes. Make us shiver with...
Antissa.
You know the rest.
Yeah. We didn't have time for that pause.
And, of course, if you can't subscribe to the Patreon, because honestly, hearing from us twice a month is more than enough, you can leave us a review and 5-star rating wherever you're listening.
You could be like IJ Travis, who says about our interview with the vampire episode, and I quote, "The original sad, reluctant vampire protagonist with raging homosexual subtext is Maria Zelenska in Dracula's Daughter, which is also wonderfully camp."
And then, if I recall correctly, you were on the interview with the vampire episode, so
I was.
we obviously discussed sad gay vampires, and we've had the first one here. Apparently, Dracula's Daughter's from 1936, and it's basically a lesbian unauthorized vampire sequel to Dracula.
Okay, well, thank you for the hot tip.
Yeah.
About sad homosexual reluctance.
We've also had Electra on Spotify say, "Love the pod, y'all are so fun," and her movie recommendations are Romy and Michelle,
Yeah.
Debs,
Yeah.
Spice World.
Oh, is that on the list?
It is,
Lovely.
indeed. Urban Legend, which I've never seen. Scream, Elvira, and But I'm a Cheerleader. Now, Electra, I have to say, we've covered But I'm a Cheerleader. So
Get your
do
shit
your homework,
together,
babes.
Electra.
Yeah.
Come on now. You're getting at best a B+.
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
But thank you for the other suggestions. I think that's like our 10th request for Romy and Michelle, so
Groundbreaking.
it really does need to get covered.
Well, do you know, we're going to mention it today because it had the same costume team.
It did indeed, and you can see the fingerprints all over it, can't you?
You can.
But yeah, thank you everyone, as always, for your suggestions. And as Brandon Wetmore says, keep them coming.
No, Brandon Wetmore says, don't go. No, don't come. You don't know what I'm on about because you ain't seen this film, have you? But you're about to find out.
You mean the listeners or me?
Oh, I really hope you've seen this film. But I would really respect if you haven't.
Imagine I've just been doing this podcast just based on Wikipedia synopsis.
Included interviewing the stars of the films. I'd
Yeah.
love that.
Sue, before we go any further, could you let the listeners know what makes a camp classic?
A camp classic is something that unlocks queer joy, that gives us a little wetty, something that has an ongoing legacy, ideally something that informs queer pop culture. It should be so stupid it's genius. Ideally, if it makes sense, probably it's not camp, and it should ultimately have underdog flop vibes. Something with flaccid energy.
Love that. Also, could you say flop again? That really did something for me.
Flop.
Oh, delicious. And Sue, I don't know if you've noticed, but the leaves are on the ground. There's a chill in the air. It must be time to head back to school.
It is, isn't it? Just before we
Yes.
get properly spooky, we're off back to school.
So in honor of the death of summer and the return to the grind, today we're covering 1999's Jawbreaker, which is, of course, one of the holy trinity of evil bitch in high school movies, sandwiched lovingly between Heathers and Mean Girls.
Life's a bitch, and then you die.
That's what I say to myself in the mirror every morning.
Is that your affirmation?
We'll get into our context and recap shortly, but as Sue already teased, the very exciting news about this episode is that I was able to blag an interview with the one and only Rose McGowan for this episode.
And it was such a good interview.
Ah, thank you.
It was so good. You asked a question that I have often wondered, and as when we've done these films, is you talked about intentional and unintentional camp. And when you're making a film that's intentional camp, how the fuck do you act that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
are you doing, to what extent are you doing little winks to camera? And Rose
Yeah.
McGowan was like 0%.
No winks.
Yeah.
No winks. You just have to play it straight and let the movie take care of the rest.
Which is really hard because that's not what it looks like she's doing.
No. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I also got to ask her about her time on Charmed, her role as a go-go dancer with a machine gun leg in Planet Terror, and if she thinks a doggy door could really kill someone. So we really cover a lot of ground in this interview, and it will be at the end of this episode. So stick around for that. Okay, so Jawbreaker. I mean, what's your history with this movie, Sue?
Zero. I feel like I say this every single time you get me on the show. I am like when you have to have in any film that's immersed in like a speculative fiction, like in a new world, you need to have the audience's eyes and ears. Basically, I'm justifying my ignorance.
Right. You're the dum-dum that needs things explained to them.
Right,
Right.
exactly. I had never seen this film. I had never heard of this film.
You'd never heard of this film.
I had never heard of Jawbreaker. I wasn't
Wow.
even clear on what the candy was. I'm familiar with gobstoppers. That's my issue.
Yeah. Pretty fucked up name for a candy, don't you think?
What's the best line? Some of the sweetest candies are sour as death.
So good. Pam Grier really chewing up the scenery.
She is. And she gets that one scene of just tour de force chewing.
Yeah.
And then where does she go?
She's gone. That's okay.
So yeah, my history is absolutely zero, and I was
Okay.
so delighted to discover it.
Oh, I think that's quite fun. I think it'll be fun to get like a totally fresh take in the year 2025 of this movie. My history is a little bit more tawdry. I think I watched this probably when I was like 19 or 20, and I think it was one of those movies. I don't know. Did you have like a partner or a gay friend when you were around that age that was like,
No.
oh, you're out now.
No.
You're out now. These are the things you need to know about to be gay.
No.
It's like gay starter pack, you know?
I needed that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't meet a gay until I was about 26.
I'm sorry.
I started doing drag not knowing any gays.
Wow, that explains a lot about your drag, honestly. Sorry, you made that one easy.
You make it so easy, don't you?
But yeah, I feel like this was part of like the gay starter pack of like, watch this, watch the first season of Ab Fab, watch Heathers, you know, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, you are that for me. This podcast is that for me. But so this film was on the list.
Yeah, it was. And I've watched it many times since. I've met the director and I've met the star now, so it's really played a role in my life.
You are the world's leading expert on Jawbreaker.
I think that probably is not true.
You're well above average.
Well above you.
And that's why I'm here, just to make you look better. I represent average. No, I represent a bit below average in this and all things.
Good thing she's funny.
Oh, that puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the episode, doesn't it?
Bit of pressure, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm gonna smash it.
I'll delete that if you
Thank
become
you,
quite
thank you.
unfunny.
I actually think this film's like a really important just discussion of just issues concerning gender and
There's actually, I found a quote of Darren and Rose talking about this movie like about 10 years ago. And they were like, they called it an anti-message movie. They're like, there is no message in this movie. Both of them said that. It's quite funny.
oh, that's fun. Because
Yeah.
I did wonder, you know, with Heathers going so in the marketing and all that, being like, this is a message movie. And you might, and like, I feel like the critics were saying, oh, there's maybe not that much to it. And they were like, oh, there's hella stuff to it. I love that this film has gone with, oh yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not
Fuck
doing
that. Yeah, fuck messages. Let's just look hot and be mean. So, Jawbreaker, it was written and directed by Darren Stein. It was made for a tiny budget of $3 million, which is absolutely nothing. And it was also
But the same, that's the same amount that Heathers was made for, although like 10 years earlier. So
when is Heathers? It's got to be
Heathers-
even earlier than that, right?
yeah, I think it's more like 13. Yeah, I think it was like 86 or something.
Right.
So yeah, actually 3 million then it would be like 6 million by the time of this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a modest budget. And it was also shot in 28 days, which is nothing.
Wow. Because
that's
there's actually
crazy.
quite a lot of locations
Mhm.
and sort of time settings. So that's not an easy shoot.
No, it's not. And on top of all of that, Darren was 27 years old at the time, which is just...
That's fucking
it just-
humiliating, isn't it?
Yeah, look at us, just sat here on Zoom.
I know. When I turn 27, I really hope that I'm that impressive as well.
I can't even make that joke. It's just pathetic at my age.
I'm okay with being pathetic. That's fine. I'm transitioning these days, and I feel like you're just allowed so much more delusion. Because it's like I've sort of decided to make my whole thing delusion, really. My
love
whole
that.
thing is what I'm perceiving is not what the world's perceiving. So I'm trans age, I'm trans beauty, none of the other things. We're not Rachel Dolezalling, but
Yeah, not transracial.
we're not transracial, but we are trans Rachel in that I am Rachel from Friends.
Any trans speciesism?
Yeah.
Could you like be a bit cat or
Oh,
dolphin
oh,
or
stop it. I'm going to humiliate myself here. Me and my partner, all partners have a cutesy thing, and there's no shame in it. He's a duck, and I'm a squid. So I'm a squid.
perfect? Let the delusion reign. That is cute. And also
Have you got one?
Oh God, probably. But I, choose to
Thank you.
keep that a mystery.
Thank you for having someone on this podcast with some dignity.
Okay, back to this movie.
Sorry.
So, on release, Jawbreaker was a box office bomb. It wasn't given a very wide release, and it only made $3 million at the box office. It was also critically panned at the time, and it's only got 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, which actually shocked me. That's one of the lowest scores of any movie we've covered. It's like at the bottom of the barrel in terms of Rotten Tomatoes scores. And
yeah, so I saw that 15% before I watched it. So I was expecting a very different movie. I don't know what's been going on with these critics.
Yeah. Well, they're mostly men and they're mostly straight.
That's it. They don't like these evil ladies. They like the nice, pliant ladies.
Do you have a vision for that as part of your transition?
Oh, I'm the most pliant of ladies. I really am. I'm not a Rose McGowan. I'm a Meg Ryan.
That's nice. Meg Ryan, but also if she got arrested for activism.
Right, yeah. No.
Meg Ryan with a backbone.
Yeah, I'm also trans apolitical. I'm deeply political, but that's not really part of the vibe I'm going for, so that's not part of the fantasy.
Sue, just so you know, listeners, is an inspiration and has been arrested for protesting genocide, protesting... was it just Stop Oil that you were part of the first time you got arrested?
Oh, no, you're really up in my credentials
okay,
here.
so
just the one for me.
Just the genocide. Back to this movie again. Sorry, I keep getting tangented. Obviously, yeah, so this movie was like a bomb and critically panned when it was released, but it's obviously become since a bit of a cult fave, and it's really found a life amongst the gays who have kept it alive. There have been multiple oral histories, pop culture references, music videos inspired by fashion retrospectives. I mean, it heavily inspired Mean Girls, as we can come on to maybe later. And so basically, it's around still. But I'd say it's remained a little underground, and obviously you'd never even heard of it. So
no. But the job of queer people is to extend the life of pop stars, movies, actors, brands long past their reasonable lifespan.
Long may it continue, I
Absolutely. I expect to see Samantha Mumber on a stage well into her 80s.
Okay, should we get into the plot of this movie?
Yes, please.
As there is quite a long interview with Rose McGowan at the end of this episode, I'm going to speed through this plot. Otherwise, I think this episode's going to be 3 hours long. So, the Flawless Four are the most popular girls in high school, consisting of Queen Bee Courtney Shane, played by Rose McGowan, Airhead Marcy Fox, played by Julie Benz, Julie, played by Rebecca Gayhart, and Liz Purr, played by Charlotte Ayana. Of the four, only Liz is genuinely kind-hearted, whereas the rest demand respect through terror. On the morning of Liz's 17th birthday, the other three girls play that, classic prank where you kidnap your best friend on their birthday.
Of course.
That classic prank that we've all participated in.
Honestly, in my teenage years, I was never out of a car boot.
But they kidnap Liz and gag her with a jawbreaker. They lock her in the trunk of a car, but upon opening the trunk, they discover Liz has choked to death on the jawbreaker. Wah, wah.
Is that the relevant sound effect for discovering your friend dead? Wah, wah, wah.
Hijinks ensue. The end.
Yeah, basically.
No, yeah. So Julie wants to report the situation to the police, but Courtney wants to cover it up and so calls the school posing as Liz's mother to tell them Liz is ill and won't be coming to school. The three then go to school with Liz dead in the trunk. Okay, so to explain the circumstances of Liz's death, Courtney devises a story that she was killed by a rapist. And she says they'll believe it because it's their worst nightmare. Assistant Principal E. Sherwood, played by Carol Kane, sends outcast Fern Mayo, great name, Fern
Yeah,
Mayo.
stunning. And they call her
Fantastic.
mayonnaise, which
Yeah, it's
kids
so
obviously
good.
would.
Yeah,
It's uninventive, and that makes it really true.
yeah, it's so good. Fern Mayo is played by Judy Greer. She is sent to deliver Liz's homework to her after school. Fern idolizes Liz to the point of lesbianism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say. And so she's happy to oblige. But upon arriving at Liz's house, she encounters the three other girls planting Liz's dead body in her bed, and she flees in horror. The girls catch her and buy her silence by enticing her to take Liz's place in the Flawless Four.
You know you want it.
I mean, who amongst us could resist that offer?
Oh my god, I'm still waiting for that offer.
Cover up a little tiny murder for, everything you've ever wanted.
Oh, to go from being the shadow to the sun.
Oh, delicious. Fern is given a dramatic makeover and changed into a beautiful exchange student named Violet.
Learn it.
Live it.
Love it.
Julie is racked with guilt and so distances herself from the group, while Violet's popularity soars. Courtney, meanwhile, seduces a stranger, played by Marilyn Manson, to have sex in Liz's bed, framing him for the murder, which manages to fool Pam Grier, who plays the detective who is investigating the death. Fun bit of trivia for you here. Pam Grier's contract states that she must be in charge of doing her own hair for her films, and for this film, she's wearing 3 wigs sewn together.
Wig? Did you just say wig?
She did that herself.
She did that herself.
Why? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's
That
really
is a
fab.
that is a big swing, and I'm afraid, Pam, it's a big swing and a miss in this instance.
I know, wig. I feel that already.
But I could imagine she came to fame doing blaxploitation movies, and I bet she had to deal with a lot of dumb white ladies who didn't know a thing about black hair.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I've done hair and makeup in TV and movies before, and those trailers are often very white, and people don't know what they're doing when it comes to black hair. So yeah, it makes sense.
Who is the black comedian? Used to do kids TV in the UK, and now is it big in America? I did a show with her once, and I got too drunk. I got stuck in a box. Anyway, I can't. What is her name? It'll lose me. But she was telling a story recently about a makeup artist, a white makeup artist, working with the BBC in the UK, who didn't have makeup for her skin tone and used hot chocolate.
No.
Yeah. So it's a real thing. Although I guess if you're going to wear 3 wigs, is it you're not trying to work with your natural texture, are you?
No. Maybe it's something that she started with in the 70s for good
Right.
reasons, and,
Right.
that slowly warped into,
Yeah.
no, that I just wear 3 wigs.
It's like with filler, isn't it? You just keep adding that bit
Mm.
more. Got one more wig on here.
What is wig? What is wig?
No, it's not your language. It's just for us. Wig.
So Violet becomes even more popular than Courtney, and the power goes to her head.
Is anyone hearing Katie Heron?
And Catty Heron.
A confrontation ensues. So Courtney and Marcy post yearbook photos of Fern Mayo all over the school, revealing Violet's true identity.
Is anyone
And-
hearing Katie Heron?
Do we have a Caddy Heron here?
I'm just going to keep saying that throughout this.
Many shades of Mean Girls. This leaves Fern/Violet humiliated and destroys her new popularity. But Julie, who's had other stuff happening that I don't care about, sympathizes with Fern and forgives her for falling under Courtney's influence. Julie and Fern find a recording of Courtney saying, "I killed Liz. I killed the teen dream. Deal with it." And the night of prom, they rig it to play over the intercom as Courtney is pronounced prom queen. Very Carrie style.
Mm-hmm.
The whole school turns on Courtney as she is outed as a murderer. Cue credits.
But instead of pig's blood, she's pelted with corsages.
A lovely, lovely little touch, isn't it? A slow-mo corsage pelt.
Played deadly seriously. There I can see what Rose McGowan is talking about.
Yeah.
She really played it like those corsages were made of glass.
She's experiencing bullets.
Yeah, she is.
The way she's taking those corsages.
And the makeup artist has drawn, like, I think maybe a bit of blood, but also the mascara is down the face. Like, she's really been through the war with these corsages. Don't pick a fight with corsages.
No. So, obviously, we had Darren Stein on the podcast to discuss Carrie, so I would recommend people go back and listen to that episode. And we talked a bit about Jawbreaker in that episode. But he revealed that the inspo for that scene was obviously Carrie, but it's also inspired by the whole album cover Live Through This, which is a beauty queen with mascara running. So that mascara is a real choice, deliberate choice.
Oh, beautiful. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, and look, I'm very pro that makeup choice.
Yeah.
It's an absolute... One of my favourite things about this movie is the stylized, non-naturalistic sequences, which is why that bit you mentioned, where Judy Greer ends up with a bloody head, is a perfect one of those, because it's another one where she's sort of being pelted with things as she goes through the classic student high school corridors, and it's a bit much, but oh no, then someone's looking after her and trying to clean up her wound. Oh no, you've played that for real.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, these non-naturalistic sequences, like the immortal slow-mo high school corridor walk for the plastics, and like the pelting with corsages, I thought were really beautiful. And crucially, the makeover.
I was just going to say, oh, isn't it stunning?
It's lovely. It's because it's Frankenstein, it's Rocky Horror, weird Victoriana. Like, yeah, we are literally making a person.
Yeah, it's like candy-coated Frankenstein.
And they borrow a line from Rocky Horror, right?
They do. I made you and I can
break you.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe this is a great jumping off point to just talk about like the costume, the set design, the sound design. There's so many choices get made in this movie, which is one of the things I absolutely adore about it, because I think whenever there was a choice to be made, they were like, let's go for the bold one.
Yeah, let's go for the one that we wanted.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like this was not, a camel or horse designed by a committee. This was like, the team had visions and they were clearly allowed, maybe because it was a small budget, there wasn't that money over the top of them saying, no, we need to factor to this audience or whatever. They made their choices.
Yeah. And so that like transfers into the costumes where Darren was like, no black is allowed on set. Everybody needs to be in color, which is really fab. Yeah. You've got like all of these sound design choices, which I think are really fun. Like when the screen, like you get screen wipes and it like does a whooshing sound effect, or like the jock like sticks his tongue out at Courtney and it gives like a waggle Exactly. Just like quite silly, kind of John Watersy, cartoony sort of effects.
Yeah.
And it all adds up to this like, incredibly stylized, not always necessarily good, but always unique end product.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
And I do feel like the aesthetics were good. I thought with the costume, because it's amazing when you can just watch this film and be like, oh, it looks like the 90s. And it doesn't at all look like the 90s. So costume by Vicky Barrett, who did Romeo and Michelle and Clueless. And just like especially Clueless, like bold choices are made. by, and no student was wearing what any student in either of those two films was wearing. And yet they've gone down as not only iconic looks, but also looks that really represent
An
something
era.
about, an era
Yeah.
and a way of being teenage. It's the
Yeah.
fact that no teenager has ever worn, like, that Cher from Clueless two-piece tweed
Mhm.
look. It's some visionary work.
It is just like such a delicious mood board. And you can just imagine how many designers' mood boards this movie has been on.
Oh
know?
God, yeah. Is costume a good moment to come on to hair?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about hair.
Oh, right. Okay, come on now. So bold choices have been made, and I don't know what the violet is, but was it ahead of its time? Because it is a bit, choppy, naughties sweep across lesbian drama teacher kind of updo.
Mm.
Is that were people having this in the 90s? I don't know what the reference there is.
I don't know, but yeah, not since Halle Berry and Catwoman have we seen quite such a hair make under.
It is. It's a complex wig. No, I don't think. I think it's her hair, isn't it? I think she had to. It looks like it's her hair. I was getting that twisted with it's actually Julie Benz who played Marcy.
Mm-hmm.
I think who had to cut her hair.
Okay, I don't know.
For it. Yeah, I heard this on another podcast that I listened to. She had to cut her hair for it, and in that opening scene, when they realise that their friend is dead and that they've essentially killed her, they all have to be hysterical, they all have to be crying. And she was like, how do I access this emotion? So what she did is she just put her hands up and touched her hair, and she just started crying. Which, honestly, I understand.
That's so good. It's also something that her character would do.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But yeah, I mean, it is hard to sell Bombshell with what's she kind of giving when she's Violet? It's kind of giving like your nan who's just come from her perm.
Yeah, and there's a hint of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she's been sat in that chair all day, reading the latest magazines, talking to the girls.
Do you know what it's given? It's given some of the videos that you have kindly sent me in the past on Instagram, where you'll get adverts for little local hairdressers that will do experimental updos on ladies of a certain age in small town Midwest. It's giving that because it's a Karen updo, with your spiky top and your sort of fringe bits, but made real complex.
I suppose the kind read on it is it's giving Madonna in the 80s when she was referencing the 50s.
Okay.
You know what I mean? True Blue.
Yeah.
Borderline.
Yeah, and there is
Open Your Heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually there is a bouffancy.
Yeah.
There is a choppiness in places, but there's also a bouffancy that would be 1950s, yeah.
I could listen to you say bouffancy and
you.
flop.
Thank you.
Just all day.
They're big parts of my gender identity.
Okay, have we covered hair?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we've done the 3 wigs, we've done the updo. Those are the 2 key pieces.
What about campus moments? What were your campus moments in the movie?
Campus moments. Okay, so yeah, number 1 for me is pelted with corsages, which we've covered. Yeah. Number 2 is actually makeover scene, Rocky Horror, Frankenstein. Number 3 is probably the in the bathroom cigarette fight. Sexy little, I'm going to take a drag and I'm going to blow it into your mouth without you knowing. And I did hear that the director told Judy Greer to do that and didn't tell Rose McGowan that it was coming. Then Rose McGowan snatches that cigarette and throws it out and carries on this cattiest of catty fights. That is, I think it's there that she says, I made you and I could break you. So I think that's probably
delicious.
Yeah.
I think that brings us on to my favorite, which is the way we find out that Violet has gone too far This is kind of camp both intentionally and unintentionally, I think, because the movie kind of jumbles us a bit, which kind of makes me laugh. But also, it's just quite funny. So Courtney and Marcy are talking, and Marcy's like, "She's gone too far. The power's gone to her head." And Courtney's like, "No, everything's fine. I'm in control." And then they hear this commotion outside, and they go to investigate what it is, and it's just Violet on the hood of her car, just sitting there, rocking out to something, and everyone is gathered around her, just like screaming and cheering, and she's just doing nothing except sitting on her car. And that is enough to send Courtney into a rage, and that's when she's gone too far. It's so good.
Love it. And I presume you know, as I did not know, what that is referencing.
Yes, so it's a reference to Angeline, who is an LA icon. You now know who Angeline is.
I now know.
Yeah.
So she's just some woman who got hold of a bit of cash and just paid for dozens of massive billboards across California with her reclining in her lingerie and her fabulous bubbly boobs on the top of a Corvette with just like Angeline written in a lovely font over it. And everyone was like, who the fuck's this bitch? And why is she such an icon? And where did she get the cash for this?
Yep. Incredible. Incredible. She's been also referenced many, many times. A real camp icon is our Angeline. And also a symbol of everything wrong with America, some might say.
Yeah.
But also everything right.
And camp really lives on that border.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I love that it's just like, she's just inexplicably drawn a crowd just by sitting on her car. So good.
I love it. A car that she's got by being popular.
By being hot.
Yeah.
Who amongst us has not received a car for their look?
I think mine's still in the post.
Yeah, I think that scene and like some of what the other ones you've described as well, I think contribute to this feeling this movie has, which is just everything's a little bit dreamlike.
Yeah.
Nothing really like, if you look too hard at any of the plot points, you're like, huh? What?
Yeah.
But if you just take it all as kind of dream logic, it's quite fab. Like somehow, I think this movie probably it seems like it takes place over what, the course of a week?
Yeah.
Or two, maybe.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure, but it's not a long stretch of time. But in that time, Violet has become the head of the cheerleading team, the star of the school play. She's gotten herself a Corvette. She's the most popular girl in school. And no one seems to care where she came from or who she is.
None of the teachers have questioned it.
No. And yeah, so like you can't really investigate that too much from a plot perspective, but if you just like enjoy it as gay fantasy, it's so fab.
Yeah, and do you know what? Watching it, I didn't feel inclined to investigate it because of these stylized sequences that told me, okay, you know, the logic that you're buying into is not a real world thing. So then I read a review like by Roger Ebert, and he's just bringing up these things. He's saying the actors look like they're in their late 20s. Well, that's sort of the point.
Yeah.
And Julie could end it all by speaking out, but she doesn't because that would be inconvenient for the plot, so she speaks out later. And Violet's transformation isn't convincing. I'm like, you are the person who made Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Yeah.
Which is another film that we reviewed together. But, you know, that is like probably a reference of this film, right? Like that's another film where the logic you're buying into is a dream logic. So I don't really know what these reviewers were looking for.
Totally. They just basically missed the point, didn't they?
Why were they so confused by this film, do you think? Or so reproachful of it?
Yeah, great question. I mean, Rose said in our interview, like, how much stigma there was even about her doing a movie with an out gay film director. And so I wonder if, like, just something being this kind of flagrantly queer while also kind of aiming a little mainstream, because it's not trying to be fringe, is it? It's not trying to be a John Waters shock fest that, you know, is only for a very small audience. It's kind of going for broad while also jamming in all of these queer reference points. And I wonder if that was just like a little bit too much for people's brains to handle in 1999. Like, keep this in the gay bars. Keep this in the drag clubs. This isn't for mainstream America.
Yeah, and it sounds like listening to kind of the release drama around it, that everyone involved had sort of thought that it was going to be a mainstream release and that's what they were making it for.
Yes.
And then the the distributors had all along thought, oh, this is basically a straight to video, or we'll give it a very limited cinematic release, which could have made the marketing a lot clearer and maybe freed up something in the filmmaking to just go for the John Waters kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because certainly it's not a clear tone throughout. I would say that the tone does slightly fluctuate in terms of, the stylizedness, the campiness.
Yeah, I think it's probably at its weakest when it goes back to plot.
Yes.
And it dips out of the like surrealism. Like basically everything that happens with Julie, I'm like, don't need any of this. I don't need her love interest. I mean, she has a boyfriend in it that I really wish didn't exist. I think there's a world actually where you could have combined the Julie and Fern characters and just done it all through Fern.
Yeah.
Because splitting the like moral center between the two, I think kind of does the movie a bit of a disservice. I think they're both good in it, but they're in different movies.
You're right. And then you could have had a little bit more complexity because you'd have had a more complex character at the center of it who would be going too far and obsessed with the power that she was getting through popularity, but also still have some qualms about doing it on the back of a dead body whose rape has been simulated.
I was about to say I see Katie Heron, but not even Katie went that far.
This is it. Like, when you compare this film to Mean Girls, which you can't not watching it, and you think like, oh, those vicious, nasty plastics. What they did is tell people when they can and can't wear pink.
Yeah.
You know what these people covered up a murder and simulated a rape and got a poor innocent man who turned out to be Marilyn Manson, not so poor and innocent, arrested.
But you can see, I've had this thought before, but you can really see how Mean Girls is the version of this movie that had like a bit more time, a few more writers, a bigger budget, and like a studio making sure that like all of the boxes were ticked, because that is a movie that is very like cohesive.
Yeah. Jawbreaker had to have a go at making this a mainstream hit and fail in that regard so that Tina Fey would see it and see the potential for a mainstream hit.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that both exist. Like, I've probably seen them equal number of times, and they scratch completely different itches for me.
Yeah.
But I think they're both iconic in their own ways. I could imagine, I mean, Darren has been on the record saying, like, I watched Mean Girls in the cinema, and I did feel a little bitter. But, you know, he's obviously drawing on the legacy of Heathers, so it's all this kind of...
Yes, he's drawing on Heathers, but, you know, it's not a shot-for-shot remake. And when you do comparisons with Mean Girls, you know, there's the slow-mo hallway scene introducing the plastics with a voiceover. The way that it all goes to shit and Violet is thwarted is through posters being put up all over the school. You've got three evil girls. You've got the three-way phone call.
Yes,
of the three girls on their bed. You know, there's quite a few more that's like, oh, you've really just taken those shots, haven't you? You could have just twisted those and made them your own, maybe.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, the cafeteria scene where they're kind of explaining the rules.
Of course.
But that is also in Heathers, actually.
Yeah, you're right. Did Heathers come up with that, or was that like a John Hughes invention, that scene?
Probably a John Hughes invention. And to be fair, the first instance I can think of a teen girl movie with girls walking slow motion down the hallway is The Craft.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He did not come up with that.
No, but they were staggered. They weren't in a line. Yeah.
Right, Tina Fey. You could have had them in a little triangle formation. Yeah. You know, make it
geese.
You.
Yeah.
Sexy geese, perhaps.
Okay, moving on. I just want to talk about the gayness of this movie because obviously Fern is gay AF.
Oh, she's deeply gay.
Yeah, she's
Although she does, it's interesting how popularity does seem to give her a hint of heterosexuality. Just inevitably, from being a popular lady, you get all the boys, and you must like that.
okay. So Fern at the start of the movie is obsessed with Liz Purr, and there's a scene where she's recounting how much she loved her, and she would just stare at her neck in class and make patterns out of the birthmarks on her neck. Then she becomes popular, and then she starts using men in the way that Courtney does. But I never get the sense that she's actually that interested in men. She's like, I need these men as tools in order to get me a car, or to get me more popularity, or to get me a part in the play. She still seems pretty gay to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. She gets the men, and she's happy, but arguably that's because the men are giving her nice
Yeah.
things.
But then I also thought, I've had this up more recently, is that Courtney is also maybe quite lesbian coded.
It's very homoerotic between the two of them.
And she's creating a woman. I mean, it's she's obviously a sociopath as well, but there's something about her that is very, it's kind of a sub-dom relationship between her and her girlfriends.
I think she's pan.
Ah, interesting.
I think she's, just pure dom vibes.
Right.
Maybe not even that into sex necessarily, just into doming.
Right.
Power.
Because there's the sex scene she has with her boyfriend where she makes him fillet a popsicle, which I will say was very important to me as a 19-year-old. But yeah, it doesn't seem like she's particularly enjoying sex, and she's just very much enjoying having a dick.
She just wants to see what she can get him to do.
Yeah, it's fab.
And I did see that actually an early tagline of this film was "Suck it and see."
Oh, fun.
That would have been good.
That is good.
I can see why they perhaps didn't go with that one. But
what did they go with, you know?
Oh, yes. No, I do. They went with that Pam Grier quote. Some of the sweetest candies are sour as death.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Much
Fabulous.
more marketable as well. You can't just say Jawbreaker, suck it and see. Like, what? What's that doing?
What does it mean? Yeah.
Jawbreaker, suck on it. Oh, wait. Actually, that was fantastic.
But then I was wondering, Darren has talked a bit about this movie kind of living on and there being future iterations of it, and him wanting to cast a trans character in the movie.
Fine, I'll do it.
And he was saying that he wanted Courtney to be trans in the movie, but I feel like Fern is the one.
Oh, that would be so sad.
Well, let's talk about that a bit more, because is it sad, or is it like, I mean, I don't want to put any words in your mouth, certainly, but as someone who's had a much more minor gender journey, even just through drag, there's something about creating a character or creating a new version of yourself where you potentially, when you do it, you overcorrect, or you build too much, and you accidentally build a worse version of yourself, or like a heightened version of yourself that has some negative qualities that you weren't prepared for.
Oh yeah.
And
any of us who came out as gay performed gay for a bit, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you look back at yourself at that time and you're like, oh, was I a misogynist?
Yeah, of course. I feel like it would be sad because I guess she's not creating herself, and
that's true.
Rose McGowan is creating her, but like, and that's why I don't mean sad problematic. I mean sad like quite true, in that any of us who didn't feel in school that we were in our own skin were suckers for anyone who would tell us what to be.
Yeah.
Like I had a friend who was a sort of Rose McGowan character. Who
Me
then,
too.
Oh, didn't we all?
Yeah.
Because we just looked to, like, you just seemed like you know what you need to do and what I need to do. And she was a bad influence, and then she ran away to London and she came back pregnant. But before that, she very much would tell me, what to wear, how to, at that time, get girls. And I feel like that's what it would give if the Violet character was trans, but it would be like so sweet. But I feel like to get not cancelled, you'd have to have a level of sympathy in this film that maybe isn't the arch tone currently.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. I also had a friend like that who was a gay man who was very much modeled after he had modeled himself after Courtney, and we would
Wow.
go to the gay bar and we would wear shirts that said things like "Don't feed the models,"
Gay rights!
or we would rhinestone our own J'adore Dior T-shirts,
Gay rights!
thinking we were really serving. I mean, it actually sounds quite fab now, and I would probably wear that now to a gay rave in an ironic way. It was not ironic then.
No irony.
No. And there's something about the gay, the story of being a gay person where you realize at some point that you're Fern trying to be Courtney, ending up as Marcy, and not wanting that storyline, and then having to figure out your whole new thing, which is somehow a combination of all of those things.
But do you know who the director was planning to make trans?
So he has said, I mean, I think he's had conversations with Kim Petras about appearing in some kind of remake of this, and I don't know who she would play. I would assume she would play a Courtney.
Ugh, I'm also like with Kim Petras.
Sure.
With any cis-passing trans person, I'm like, well, you are technically casting a trans person, but you're not necessarily writing a trans character there. Like, it doesn't change how she looks on screen. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
yes.
like, sort of,
What's
I'm not
the
saying
point?
don't bother. Like, by all means, cast Kim Petras. I'm not trying to do Kim Petras out of a job, but you're not doing a radical change of the format
Sure.
if you do that.
Sure. And I also think there's nothing that fresh about casting Courtney as a trans person, because actually it's just playing into, the Frankenfurter stereotype of like evil trans bitch. But there is something interesting, I think, about making Fern a character who's figuring out their gender via someone else. There could be a really neat way of doing that. And maybe that's not for this material to like do, but seeing Fern / Violet as like a trans allegory, I think is really a really fun way to watch this movie.
I think it would be beautiful. It would be quite a different movie, but the material is absolutely there to be played with. And I hear that he's now, no, not even now, like for like a decade, he's been making it into a musical.
Yes, and I think it got quite far, and then, as with all of these things, it's fits and starts. But the last I heard quite recently is that's still going ahead, so we shall see.
It's going to be interesting because obviously Heathers, the musical, has been, I believe, a success, but on the back of quite, a household name.
Mm-hmm.
Jawbreaker less so, so it'll be interesting to see how that does.
Anything else?
One thing to say is just how great I think the concept is, the setup. One thing that I love is they introduce the characters in that classic teen drama voiceover way. They get that done in 30 seconds, and then they're into what is almost a cold open of the kidnap, and then, oh shit, she's dead. And that is all accomplished in like 90 seconds of movie. And then you've got the Violet Fern has seen them do it, and so she has to be made to not tell, what can we do, how can we do that, well, what can we offer you, we can offer you popularity. What a great high stakes concept. Like, I really feel like they absolutely nailed the stakes of that. And then I was comparing it to other teen dramas that have been arguably sort of more successful, at least in mainstream ways. Looking at the concept of 10 Things I Hate About You, which was not a very dissimilar time. And there the concept is he wants to date the pretty sister, but the dad says you can only date the pretty sister when the ugly sister has already started dating. That's a weird dad. That's...
Well, you have to blame that one on Shakespeare.
Right.
Because
do you know what?
movie is based on, I think, Taming of the Shrew.
I did not expect to be coming for Shakespeare in this. I'm saying is Jawbreaker is just better than Shakespeare. Oh God! Why did I pick
That's
that
why
example?
That's why people come to this podcast. These hot takes.
Shakespeare is done. He's not going to show his face around here.
But I do take your point. I think it's a bold swing, and it plays into the whole nihilism that this movie just is all about, which I think is so fab. I think just also the fact that they make Courtney so fucking evil. I don't love the rape storyline in this movie. I think it takes it to like a too realistic place when the rest of the movie is kind of over the top.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really needed.
I don't think it's needed either. But there is something about Courtney who is just like the most evil thing you could be. And Rose has been on record talking about this, but I'll read a quote from her actually. She said, "And while Courtney could have been created today, she wouldn't be the same. It would need to be clear that Courtney has sociopathy and that there is something wrong with her. There would have to be a reason. It's a rarity that a woman is just angry or bitchy because she just is. It's rare that a movie doesn't try and fix her anger. That just lets her stay exactly as she is." I think that's quite neat. And it is fun to just see like true villainy sometimes.
Yeah, it is, and she does play it so well. I mean, it's not the only time in her career that she's played villainy. She does it so well and so sexily.
Yeah. Well, I think on that note, should we rate this movie?
I haven't prepared my rating. You have to go first.
That's fine. So we are here to rate this movie on our patented Campometer, where we will give it 1 to 10 Merrills.
I'm Julia Child.
For the quality of the movie, and 1 to 10 Lizas for the camp factor. This is a tough one, I gotta say.
Tough.
And as you said pre-recording, I have been bought out by what did you say exactly?
You're an establishment figure in the world of camp movies. You cannot have the director and star of a movie on and then next week give the film 2.
Right. I'm in a bind.
That's why we've had to get me on. We've got a nobody on, so I'm free. I've not got a sponsor.
I'm a slave to big cult cinema.
It's a big camp.
Yeah, big camp. So, okay, Merrills. This is the tougher one for me because I think that basically where I want to give it all of its cred is in its Lizas. And I think when we actually look at it from Merrills, there are some
structural issues.
Yeah, some structural issues. And you know what? I couldn't have made a movie this good at 27, but
I couldn't make it this good at 37.
Exactly. But what I would say is like from a point of big swings, from a point of like visuals, from a point of choices, strong acting decisions, this movie ticks a lot of Merrill boxes. I think I'm probably somewhere in like a 5 or 6 in terms of Merrills.
Yeah, I think I'm there as well, but I think I'm not a 5. I think I'm a 6. And the reason that I think that is because I enjoyed this film more than I enjoyed Heathers.
Right.
And Heathers was also a flop, which I didn't realise, but critically hugely successful. I found it overlong.
Yeah.
This film, it's snappy, it's pacey, it's fun throughout, even where it has its issues and dips that don't make sense. So I think you can't achieve that just with camp.
You're right.
You do need to have some technique in there. So a solid 6.
Tell you what, I'll meet you at a 6.
Great. 6 it is.
And so how about Liza's?
Way up there.
Yeah, so let's just remind ourselves of the criteria. Unlocks queer joy. I mean,
yes,
it basically launched my gay ship. So, I owe this movie so much in that regard, and it continues to bring me joy.
And I'd imagine lots of people were unfortunately turned lesbian by this film.
Carpet munchers!
The world needs some.
Yeah.
Ongoing legacy. I mean, obviously, as we've said,
Yeah.
it continues. The legacy reverberates.
It created Mean Girls.
So stupid, it's genius. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like got stupid baked into its DNA, I would say.
Yeah, and it's
Like-
really quotable and stupid. It invents teen slang such as, I've just got to say, you are to die to die. That's cute.
That is cute. And underdog flop vibes. I mean, it couldn't really have flopped harder. It was an underdog movie that flopped hard.
And another thing that it did, when we're talking about intentional and unintentional camp, it did both.
It did both. It did both. It gave us so much intentional camp, and then also whenever it kind of
Yeah.
flopped, it was also a bit of unintentional camp, and that's also a delight.
Yeah. It did, because it could have been, as you say, John Watersy, but it tried to go mainstream and didn't quite pull that side of things off. So, yeah, we got a bit of both. And
Mhm.
one result of that is quite variations in pitch of stylizedness of acting, which is very, very camp. And that's what, Mommy Dearest with Faye
Yes.
Dunaway doing so much more than everyone else. We love to see someone who didn't get the memo that everyone else
Yes.
got.
Yes.
So
Um,
I think for me, Liza's, I'm going to go in. I'm not going to go crazy, I think I'm going to go 8.
okay. And I think I basically just kind of talked myself to the edge of a 10.
Woo!
And I don't know whether or not to talk myself down off that ledge or not. Baby's things get 0s or 10s these days, so
Right. She's the clickbait of the podcast.
yeah. I don't really know what this movie could do to be camper.
I think that it could lose the middle plot points a little bit or
Right,
get them
and-
wrong more.
Yes, I see. So basically, if we lost all of the Julie boyfriend stuff
Yeah.
and replaced it with something either worse or better.
That was just more either yeah, exactly. One of those two. Either just more Violet in different hairs,
Yeah.
which would be better,
Yeah.
or like a more awful moralistic journey,
Yeah.
which would be worse. Either.
And therefore better.
Yeah.
Okay, so fair. For that I will dock it 1 and I will give it a 9.
Very respectable.
Yeah. But I would say that certifies Jawbreaker as a camp classic.
Gay right!
We love to see it. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I really, really enjoyed talking about this movie.
Me too. Thank you so much for introducing this into my brain.
I'm so glad I finally brought you one that was enjoyable for you to watch.
I think this might be the first one that I've enjoyed. Is it?
Yeah.
But what I love is that every film we ever do is basically new to me.
Right. Fab. Okay, so listeners, stick around. My interview with Rose McGowan is coming up next. But for now, we shall say thank you so much to Sue Gives a Fuck.
Thank you for having me.
Sue, before you go, where can people follow you and how can they support your work?
Just find me on the socials. Go on Instagram. If there's not a show to promote, there's probably a fundraiser for legal costs. So at Sue Gives a Fuck is where you'll find me.
I have to also just second that. And I mean, your Instagram seems like it's blowing up these days and your content is just so funny. So please, I implore listeners to go and have a binge because you will not be disappointed.
Thank you. It is mostly musical comedy about sex work. So if that's up your alley, then head on over to at Sue Gives a Fuck.
You know the freaks who listen to this podcast, and you know it is. And without further ado, here's my interview with Rose McGowan. Hello. Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Welcome to Camp Classics.
We love a camp classic. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm really good. And welcome to my home. Welcome back to my home.
Thank you. It's so lovely here.
Oh, thank you. We've got Perlita back.
Perlita, little Pearl. Yes, she's back and much happier this time because when we first entered the UK, they made me give her some kind of crazy medicine. So she was quite cross that day.
Oh, right.
And now she's
full of beans. I mean, I just watched her hump you, so
I call it the energetic hug.
She's picking up on the energy in the home, I think.
She's like, I hear some humping happens here.
So, Rose, obviously, you are a prolific actress, activist, author, artist, and that's not what we're here to talk about.
I love that. I'm so kind of over talking about serious things. I actually had to take kind of a 5-year timeout from talking out loud because I was, there's a period where it had to be very intense and very serious. And everyone who interviewed me, it was very serious. And I'm thinking, I'm kind of like, I miss just being funny. That was always kind of more my thing. It was, And so thank you. I'm happy to be back and just talking about some camp. Let's go.
I love that. I actually completely relate. I was involved in a high-profile lawsuit, and for a year, you're like, well, I'm just talking about this horrible thing that happened, and that's like nothing on your story. So let's just keep it light today. It's a light podcast. It's a fluffy podcast.
We love a fluff. I have a fluffy dog next to me.
Exactly.
We turn on our fluffy brains. Let's fluff, people. Let's fluff.
So obviously we cover camp movies on this podcast. What do you think makes something camp? How would you define camp?
How would I define it? I mean, there's 2 lanes of it, right? There's intentional camp and accidental. Of course, my preference is the accidental. A la The Mommy Dearest, which I think everybody involved thought they were winning Oscars. I mean, who doesn't love kind of a train wreck that's with some good makeup? But then there's also the ones where I think it's joyful, even if part of the joy is sadly at someone's expense of, they're being very, very serious, but it gives joy. Whereas, or something that is just, that's Perlita in the background. I don't know. I guess it's just joy transmissions, right? Absurdity.
Yes.
And also, like, sometimes there's very high art in camp, incredible costume design, incredible hair and makeup, incredible ridiculous dialogue, and also just pushing, when I was very, very young, I was introduced to, the movies of Divine, and like that, like, to me, I don't know, having sex with a lobster on a couch in an evening gown, that's not camp. I'm not sure what, or maybe it's just a documentary. I don't know, but it's all
Gay
perception.
rights.
Hell yeah.
You've actually basically perfectly summed up our definition on the podcast, but I agree with you. I think there's something so special about watching someone go for something really hard and then accidentally make something completely different.
Right.
And that can just be the most joyous thing.
Yeah, it's interesting, and knowing, certain types of actors or directors that take everything very seriously and aren't really particularly humor based. Again, going back to say Mommy Dearest, seeing that become, I mean, I imagine that must have just been such a shock to their system.
Yeah, they were very upset about it.
Very upset. I mean, if you think about that one, and I'm sure you've talked about that one many times, but just that must have, I think it altered Faye Dunaway's entire world for sure.
Yeah.
But also, if you look at the actors in that, the kids that played the children, they were terrible.
Yeah.
They were terrible actors. Sorry, they were terrible. But that's also what makes it great, because then you have this kind of Oscar-winning actress, like Oscaring her ass off. And then this but mom, terrible line delivery of the children. And then honestly, I think it all lies in the hands of that director, whomever he was. He was whomever he was objectively terrible.
Yeah, there's something I think that often gets, like, Mommy Dearest is a great example where Faye gets all the blame.
No,
but she was directed. She was directed to be that way.
Right.
I mean, maybe she's difficult to direct. Maybe she was like, I'm doing it this way or not, or nothing. But
something I've noticed a lot is that weaker directors, when they work with kind of a legacy actor or someone who's won awards, they're very scared of directing them.
Right.
Or they'll say more, and the person, so you never see what kind of direction they're given.
Right.
Or, in fact, directing is a lot about parameters, like, this is the lane we're in, you're going a bit too far of the lane. If the person has to have a really solid vision,
Sure.
but also that director's, the angle choices, how he directed the camera, how he directed, definitely whomever that dude was, fail, but also thank you.
Yeah, but also thank you. What a gift.
But
what
also
a gift.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Because also I think her performance actually, if you just lens her performance, it's very good. It's a little too intense for that movie, but like she does a full transformation, and she's believable as Joan Crawford.
Right. If you had set up the world around her properly, if all the other actors cast in it were, equally as strong, or at least in that
intense yeah.
And you hadn't had these insane camera angles or close-ups, which she probably was not entirely aware of what they were doing. I mean, she would know angles, but you don't know, like, in the edit room what they're gonna do. So, like, he was doing a lot of, like, different, like, kind of camera moves and like, things like that. She wouldn't have actually seen. And also there is that axiom, right, that saying that it's never as good as the dailies and never as bad as the rough cut.
Oh, I don't know that.
Right, which is very true. You know, when oftentimes if you would see dailies, when they used to have to screen dailies for everybody the day after filming, that you get the film back from the day before and they play it. So, you know, the kind of key crew and some cast, if they want to see it, and the director and the producers see it, and everything generally looks amazing. Oh my God, this is lightning in a bottle.
Right.
And then you put it together in the rough cut and you're like, I am going to jump off a bridge.
Really?
Yeah, because at that point, it's desaturated of color.
Okay.
There's, you would maybe have a production assistant in the corner if there's a phone ringing and it's a very serious phone call scene and the person's like, you just hear the voice in the corner going, ring, you know.
Right, okay.
It's just
so there's
stupid.
no movie magic, basically.
No movie, like whatever the magic you had in your head is now gone and you're editing in all grayscale. One of the last things I did in Hollywood was direct my own film. And luckily I was very aware of that situation.
The color in that is amazing.
Dawn?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I worked really hard on that. Color's
It's
a
incredible.
huge thing for me because it's such a character.
Yeah.
You know, people forget, like, everything to me. One of the things, maybe I took it too seriously in other movies, but everything that you put on a screen is information going into someone in the audience's mind. So I always thought that there should be more thought about that. And I wanted in my film, every frame you could stop it and it could, without sound, tell the story. And also be its own individual art piece.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly the thought I had. There's so many shots. There's a shot of her sat on the couch, and I was like, that would be so nice in a giant print on a wall. Like, it would be gorgeous because it's just so vibrant and lush, and it really does give so much character.
Thank you. I did the set design too.
Oh.
And also, but you can say so much because her boyfriend in this movie is set in 1961 is called Don, and she comes from kind of a fancy, you know, wealthier family, and he's a gas pump jockey. So by putting him in a car that was 12 years older, by him sitting awkwardly on a very stiff but perfect couch from 1961, whereas their furniture would all be mint, you know, maybe only a 2 years old maximum, whereas his, you know, reality would be completely different. And so he would sit kind of uncomfortably in his slightly dirty jeans, you know, and I also wanted a level of discomfort in that home with her very perfect mom kind of. Yeah, you tell him, sis.
Yeah, you tell him. We recently covered Red Sonja on the podcast. There's a new version out, but we were talking about the 85 version, and obviously you were attached to the remake for a long time. There's that iconic poster of you licking the bloody sword. I guess I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on the OG version, if you've seen it, if you can remember?
That's the thing. I saw it. I definitely saw it. I don't remember much about it. I remember liking her hair.
Yeah, she has a really incredible mullet.
I remember thinking, oh, this looks like the people around me at military school. I remember thinking it looked like some Oregonian postal workers that I'd seen.
Right.
You know, that mullet, exactly, but kind of amped up. And the loincloth, I believe, kind of thing was cool. Don't remember much about it. I did, yeah. Unfortunately, my arm became paralyzed after a stunt gone wrong on a movie I did called Planet Terror. So I spent 2 years in this kind of, it was 7 surgeries in a machine. I could no longer hold a sword.
Right.
But we did have, for that poster, there's 2 versions of it, and they've actually taken one of them for something else. I've seen it copied, where I like the one where she's kneeling. It's a profile of the head, body, and the sword is held up in the arm and down, and she's kneeling on a big pile of skulls. It's sick.
Yeah.
And that was actually an amazing hairdresser I got named Peter Savick, who did Madonna's hair in the Express Yourself video and like legend hair. He's incredible. Well beyond that, and still working, and still Peter the Pirate, amazing. But that was actually, I believe, 6 wigs, one on top of
It's a lot of hair.
It's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, I didn't, I could no longer wield that sword, but I
Well, you
poster
created
is
yeah,
forever.
the poster is
There's
forever.
a new one? They
There-
finally made it?
Yeah, there is a new one. It's out on streaming now. I was talking to the director on our last episode. Okay, this is another wild jump, but you have one of the most iconic and memorable death scenes in the Scream franchise. Firstly, do you think that a garage door could actually kill someone?
Well, that was a real garage door I went up and down in. And had it gone wrong, probably, I would say yes. The funny part is I'd run away from a military school years before, and then decided after kind of sleeping in cemeteries and going to, I was about 12 and a half, and dancing in these kind of underground gay nightclubs in Portland, Oregon, and all around the West Coast. I mean, I had so many looks. It was so cool. I was like kind of a little mascot. But at one point, the two queens I was in a kind of a flop house with, and the stripper named Tina, she suggested I needed to pay $35 a month. And I thought, oh. So then I decided to break into my family's house. And the only way in, it was around Christmas, was through the cat flap.
Stop it.
It was quite small because it was for cats, but I fit. And so I knew, even from looking at the size of the dog flap in Scream, I was like, oh, three of me could go through that. I know I can do that. So they actually had to nail my shirt into one side. It was meant to be with the stunt woman.
Uh-huh.
But I'd costumed Tatum like extensively, and everything. She wears red and white pants in the movie. Those were mine. I had a boyfriend that was like a designer. I think it was called Mondo Rama in downtown LA. Very cool stuff. And then the white boots were mine. And then I went to the mall in Santa Rosa, California I had to buy quadruples of the tops and the skirts. And I'd seen the storyboard for how they were planning on shooting that sequence. And I knew at one point the camera was going to be on her bum, as they say here in the UK, when she goes in to get the beer bottles before Ghostface appears.
Mm-hmm.
And she has her big fight with him. And I knew there would be a close-up on the bum. So when I saw this skirt that had this kind of psychedelic swirl ending right at the V and the B, I thought, ha, 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 ha. This is going to be on a big screen. So I thought that would be a huge kind of audience prank, like step into my optic swirle. I'm like, oh, you want a close-up? I'll give you a close-up.
That's so good.
I was always like kind of like, I don't know, like making weird pranks that only I knew about.
Right, I love that. I can't believe you were allowed to do the costume.
Well,
that must be quite rare.
It really, honestly, yeah, Wes Craven was badass. I think he knew because he'd seen me, kind of. I remember him seeing me at the Independent Spirit Awards when I was nominated for something, didn't win. Thank you. But I was wearing orange plastic pants with a belt and the white boots that I wore in the movie, actually. Right. And then this kind of strange crop top thing. He'd seen that I'd had kind of
so
like,
he was like, she's got
a
this
fun style. Whereas I remember, and I feel bad because it's in Scream lore. So whomever, I think her name was Cynthia. I'm sorry. I remember having to make the choice. Okay, there's this lady. I think it was like her first really big film. And she pulled out like faded overalls for Tatum. And I was like, oh, fuck that. And then white chunky kids. And I remember her saying, they're very now. And I just looked at her. I believe my head tilted. And I just said, they're very never. And I remember at that point, I was like, bitch, I'm such a bitch. But I had a choice. I was like, okay, I can be this lady's enemy. She can hate me. Or I can fail this character. I'm not failing her. I've already made my hair this color for her because I'd learned I was going in for like my 5th audition, and I just learned on the way in that they cast Neve Campbell. And I had dark hair, so ergo, by rules of law of movies, you cannot have 2 dark-haired people unless they're sisters.
Famously. You know all about dark-haired sisters.
Yes. Which is why I made my hair red at one point in that.
Right.
So yeah, so I just found out that they'd cast Neve, and right as I was walking in for the final kind of test, and there was Kathy Conrad, the producer. They had one female producer, and there was like, I don't know, probably like 10 people in the room, including Wes. And I looked at Kathy before I said hello, and I looked at her and I said, Kathy, who's your hairdresser? I've been wanting to go blonde. do you know who can turn me blonde? And it was like seeing this collective light bulb go on in all their heads. Like, this is possible. And that's essentially really how I got cast in that. It was just quick survival thinking.
We often joke on this podcast about like the blondes and the brunettes and like how it's such an annoying trope of like the fun one, the sensible one, but like the idea that actually translates into, you know, the casting room as well. It's so it's quite depressing.
Well, the trope has to start somewhere.
Yeah,
It starts
yeah.
with them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's super strange. There's an actress on Charmed at the show I did, and very legendary producer Aaron Spelling. This was before I got there. I guess she had cut bangs, or a fringe, as they say here. And he said, "I don't know if the audience will recognize you," to her. And I was, you know, I had the thought of like, I mean, it's in a close up. It's the same character. I think they will.
I think they can
give him
handle
some
it.
credit. Give him
Yeah.
some credit.
That was part of the fun of a long running series is seeing what hairstyle the leads were going to come
Well,
back
if you
with
almost,
after
yeah, right.
after
If
the summer.
there was on that show there was a I guess because there'd been a show called Felicity
Oh my
a
god.
few years before,
Yes,
and
that
it was on the same network, and she'd cut off all her hair and the ratings tanked, so there became this edict.
Yes.
And it was coming from like Paramount Studios, Viacom, which was a massive corporation that owned the WB, the network Charmed was on, and it was in the contract that you have to, you're legally not allowed to change your hair without legal approval. And I was like, piss off.
Yeah.
So of course, one summer I decided to go kind of like strawberry blonde red, and I just, it was without asking, of course. And then there was much hair pulling. Well, yeah, as figuratively, and or maybe literally, I'm not sure. But they said, "How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to explain this?" I'm like, first of all, it's a show about magic, okay, and I'm fighting demons, and like there's anything could be explained pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I said, I don't know. Just say I was working on potions in the kitchen. One exploded, turned my hair red. I liked it. I come. First, like week later, I'm back on set after our summer break, and the first lines out of my mouth, another character, "What happened to your hair?" "Well, I was working on potions in the kitchen. It exploded. It turned my hair red. I liked it." So, yeah. Exactly that.
I liked it too.
I liked it. I honestly, I should have kept that for longer.
Why couldn't your character have just gone to a hair salon to get her hair
right?
done?
No, because
Also.
I mean, yeah, that would not logically enter. They live in San Francisco, first of all.
Well,
okay. I mean, I was always mad because we had this I hated this wicker grandma furniture, and it was always getting exploded in every episode. I'm like, these women they're in their 20s. Seriously, like in Spanish, like my favorite is like, "En serio?" Like, serious? Are you serious? Like, is this serious? Like, they could just.
You're so right.
Why do they have to have grandma floral couches?
Yeah, they were like replacing their grandma's
constantly
wicker furniture.
I'm like, it's like they're living in this mausoleum of grandmahood, and I'm thinking like, why would they not just get like some dope ass sofa, blow that up, constantly change your environment in a way because you're seriously not chained to anything.
Right. Yeah. That like basically AbFab, where she's always got a new kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you could have think of the possibilities.
I did. That was the problem.
Right.
That was the problem with my brain and that, because I remember like I had only done film before that really, and I was shocked that like at the level of, I mean, in film it was like they try to create a world and an environment around you or your character to make it real. And luckily I could kind of use that sometimes. Also on Scream in Tatum's bedroom. So you're too young for this, but there was a band called the Indigo Girls.
Oh, I know the Indigo Girls.
Are they Canadian? They seem
think
like they'd be Canadian.
They're Canadian coded for sure.
They're serious Canadian guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Red Sonja mullet.
Closer to fine.
So the production designers on Scream, who did, you know, the posters on the wall and the set design, stuff like that, they kind of looked a bit like the Indigo Girls from my memory. And on the walls of Tatum's bedroom were posters of the Indigo Girls rocking out. And I look at it, and when I get onto the bedroom set, and I'm like, there's no way. This popular high school chick, a character, by the way, whose kind of life I had never lived and only seen in movies or looking in through the window of someone's house like a creeper. I had never experienced that. That was not my path, right? These were not people I knew. This is not my environment. But I did know this girl would not have the
Yeah,
Indigo Girls.
Who would
So-
Tatum have listened to?
Well,
What are we, 97?
yeah, probably around that. Oh, I don't know. But I hadn't thought that far. But I said, she can't have these in her room.
Right.
Because that's what people don't understand is like, there's things they'll see that they'll take in on a deeper level. They might not, unless it's like a crazy eagle eye fan, which are definitely out there. But it all adds up to inform the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like with filmmaking, you want to make kind of the least mistakes as possible to keep people in the world you've created.
Sure.
Right? So there might be someone that's like, it would just somehow make her character less believable, which is not my fault. It's like, that's not putting the posters on the wall is not my job. And they said, but we've cleared these with legal. How do we replace it? And I'm like, kittens. Go get me some kitten posters. Hang in there. Put those on the wall. Kittens. That's what we'll do. So that's actually how they wound up with kittens. Yes.
Wow. Tatum's a cat girl.
I mean, she had to be.
Yeah, well, she had the cat flap. No, that's not her house. I don't remember.
That was my house. Wherein I went in, stole the majority of the Christmas presents, and I don't even know how I knew about this, probably running around with some underground people, and found the local pawn shop and pawned all the presents, pawned the video games, and got the $35 I needed to pay Stripper Tina for rent that month.
Stripper
Worked.
Tina.
Bless her heart. I remember my father had always said, please stay away from homes with popcorn ceilings.
What does that mean?
Like, when it looks like they sprayed, almost like that chunky ceiling.
Okay, kind of like stucco.
Kind of, that. But it's like kind of like if you're bouncing on a bed, you could potentially hit your head on it and it cracks off. That's like, I think, known as popcorn ceilings. Right? And they're very, it just says a lot about maybe the situation you're in.
Right.
I remember being like, oh, fuck, Stripper Tina has popcorn ceilings. But literally beggars cannot be choosers. So here we are.
Oh,
my favorite hair salon in that region was called Hair We Are. Sorry, just side note. Hair We Are.
There's a place near here called Barber Streisand.
Ooh,
very good.
That is very good.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I love it. We can go anywhere. It turns out. We're covering Jawbreaker on the podcast this week, so I've got a couple Jawbreaker specific questions, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, firstly, how do you look back on this movie? How do you feel about it?
What I love about it, I mean, besides all of it, and Darren Stein, the writer-director, and the world he created, was one, he was just so, and still is, incredibly enthusiastic.
He is.
He's amazing. He's just incredible. But he was very young. I was very young. And I remember there being an agent at my agency at the time saying, I don't know. He didn't know like my history, where I'd come from, how I'd grown up. Like my first boyfriend wore long skirts and we would regularly get harassed, things thrown at us. Like this is in a region where there's probably nobody in 1,000 miles that looked like us, at all. And, I was like 12 and a half and Paul like had these beautiful long skirts always with like, these little sandals that he would wear, and I would do.
So nice.
We would do each other's eye makeup.
Oh, that's so nice.
I loved him. He was beautiful. Anyway, so this agent was like, "I have to warn you. Working with an out gay director might harm your career." And I remember thinking, "Dude, what decade are you in?" I go, "First of all, my first lead role was in Greg Araki's movie, so." You haven't even apparently seen your client's resume, which is slim at this point. So fairly easy to note that I'm not scared of things. Secondly, I was always very terrified, and rightfully so, of like straight people, particularly in Hollywood. They just were very confusing, and I didn't understand what was happening, and or their weird signals and things like that. And I was like, I think it's more dangerous to not do this. Thank you. And luckily, Clint Culpepper, I remember he was the executive on it, and it was at Sony and in a subsidiary called Screen Gems. And I remember when Jawbreaker came out, they had the choice to either promote a movie called Can't Hardly Wait or Jawbreaker. And they're like, we're going to throw our weight and money behind Can't Hardly Wait. And I remember thinking, you're going to regret this. But maybe it was supposed to be how it was, because it did turn into like this classic camp, but also good. I always believe that if you're doing something somewhat campy, to maybe not on the level of Joan Crawford, but, that character's not aware that it is.
Yes.
And I based it on a very, to me, somewhat campy movie called Leave Her to Heaven. I based Courtney, my character, on that. It's a beautiful actress named Jean Tierney, like one of the most beautiful women of all time in cinema, for sure. She has, I guess now you'd probably call it borderline personality disorder / psychopathy.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point, her new husband has a son already. The son is in a wheelchair. I think his name is Johnny, let's say. And she takes Johnny out on the lake in a canoe, pushes Johnny over the side, and he's like, "Help, help, help." And she just looks, she has this incredible, like, stone face, beautiful. She just like side eyes Johnny and paddles away. Later, when the husband's like, "But why? Why did you do this?" "Darling, we needed more time alone together." And that right there was the exact, for me, because I had a big love of classic film. My father took us to revival theaters, probably because there were so many of us kids and it was only like $2 to get into them. But subsequently, I had this really great education in classic cinema. And so to me, that was the origin of Courtney for me.
I love that.
Like how to play her. Like,
I love
"Darling, we needed more time alone together."
It's very that.
It's just logic.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a bit about that, actually, because obviously, yeah, Jawbreaker has this very knowing, winky, intentional camp vibe. But like, how do you approach that when you're starring in it? Do you just
"Darling,
have to,
we needed to take it seriously."
You have, right? You do just take it seriously.
Well,
because
also,
the character, yeah. How does that work?
I mean, to me, it was just I've met a few psychopaths in my life, and they're not really usually aware that they're psychopaths, or if they are, everybody else is wrong, and this is just logic. This is their logic. It might be skewed logic. Personally, if there was a Jawbreaker 2 in my perfect dream world, and Darren, good for him, he's making a musical of it and doing all that fabulous alternate reality. But in my reality of it, I would do it like she has been institutionalized and in an area where the Kardashian types live. I think it's called Hidden Hills or something like that, or whatever that area, Calabasas, that's where they live in California, right? Let's say she gets out of there and now she's like on the outs, but has to become queen bee of the Calabasas juicy, loving crowd, Skims wearing people, and just wreaks havoc. That's my dream.
Oh God, someone greenlight it immediately.
I mean, to me, that just seems like she gets out, takes off her glasses, surveys the situation, and the reality TV show, all that stuff that's happened since she's been locked up, and is just like, okay, how do I queen bee this situation?
It's so good.
Let's go into operation mode. Let's win.
Cue the slow motion walk sequence.
Right, and go.
The other one I was thinking of was obviously Planet Terror, which again has that like very knowing camp. But again, do you just go into a character like that and you do it seriously?
I did it seriously. And it was very much like, that director and Quentin Tarantino, because they kind of did them side by side, and I was in both Death Proof and Planet Terror.
Yeah.
And it was an homage to I don't know if in the 70s when they saw these movies, because they used to go to these theaters and they were called grindhouse films.
Mm-hmm.
They called them grindhouse because they would just grind them out. And they would send the reel of film around. It would go like all over the country. They would maybe have 2 or 3 copies of the movie. And let's say there's a projectionist in Ohio and he liked the sex scene in one of these movies, or he thought like this guy or girl was hot. So he could cut the frame out manually, take it home, and then just kind of glue the film back together. So then, or put like a piece of negative film in there that would or there'd be a real jump. So let's say the movie makes its way from New York to California, and by the time it plays in LA theaters, there's a card would just come up and say missing reel, because someone along its way had cut it out to take it home and maybe jerk off to it, or who knows what, right? Maybe they had a whole collection, probably. So that's kind of how we did it. And I approached it, of course, because again, I think if you have this completely insane world. I mean, even in Planet Terror, I remember him wanting the director to break all the rules of, you know, the kind of sacrosanct, the rules in filmmaking of things you're not supposed to do, which is you're never supposed to kill an animal. They even killed the dog,
Yes.
which did not really get killed. But I argued, I was like, please don't kill the dog. We have to kill the dog. I'm like, I understand. You know, but it's interesting because the region I first moved to, where I live in Mexico, I was walking down the beach one night in 2020, and I'm like, why did I move? Why did I come here? And then I thought, oh my God, it's because in the movie, Bruce Willis is a general. There's a laboratory leak. People in society get sick. They turn into these kind of mutants. And I lead a band of survivors to this exact region. It's where we filmed the end of that movie, The Survivors.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, I'm copying a movie that I was in. I had this strong survival, go there. And I'm like, okay. And then months later, I'm like, why was that signal so strong? Oh, wait, because this is where I had to deliver the dialogue about the band. I'm like, oh my God, my brain.
You just need a rocket launcher on your leg.
I mean, at times, believe me, I have wanted that.
I believe it. Okay, we talked about Courtney Shane a bit. Who are some of your other favorite female villains?
Ooh, female villains. Ooh, that's a good question. I always preferred playing villains far more.
Yeah, fun.
I love Charmed. I loved, some of the people on it and the people I've met through that and the legacy and that's interwoven in families' lives. But that was honestly one of the hardest jobs I ever had because there were a couple episodes where she turned evil.
Yes.
I love those. There's the evil enchantress. Love that one. That was always I don't know why. I just always knew how to play those.
Right.
And there was just, it was, and I realized also with playing evil, sorry, I know I'm not answering your question.
No,
I'm buying
good.
time to think. But playing evil, it has the same beats as comedy.
Yeah.
Because I realized that once when, I think it was in Jawbreaker actually, when I delivered the lines to Fern Mayo, which are my favorite lines in the movie, when she's like, because it's so mean, when she's like, you're the shadow, we're the sun. And then they would say cut and I would start cackling. And then I realized, oh, actually playing evil, I think I love it because it has the same exact beats. If you know comedic beats and how to hit those lines well, it's the same beats, right? And it's almost like operatically evil. It's very fine line between that and comedy.
Why do you think queer people love the villains so much?
Smarter?
Yeah.
I had to whisper that, but yes, smarter. I think because when you've been sold the lie of what is normal and you've basically been born kind of either first, and hopefully that's moved away from that, where it was internalized that it was odd that it was inside you that it was against the grain. But in fact, kind of, it's an oppositional way of viewing the world.
Yes.
To me.
Yes.
Because that was how I grew up. Called a freak, a weirdo, run from big trucks trying to kill you just because you look different. They changed, my name is Rosa Ariana. They changed it the first day of military school to Rose.
Wow.
It's on my documents. I didn't even understand, actually. I understood English, but I didn't really understand what was happening. And it was a real sliding doors moment, right? But anyway, what I mean by that is the people that were all seemed united against me were terrifying.
Yeah.
But also villains.
Yes.
And so to get that, but they weren't fun villains necessarily. So to get to have the pressure release of a villain that you can actually root for, and then that villain, if they're destroying normalcy, fuck yeah, even better.
Yeah.
I mean, to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just said it so well. That's when I started doing drag, I was always interested in playing the bitch. I think that's something I've kind of moved away from a bit because I actually kind of start to see how that's also a limited view.
Right.
And you don't want to fall into a misogynistic trap of only worshipping the feminine who's strong, mean, and powerful.
That. Yeah, I appreciate that.
But there is something so
but it is
cathartic.
Just more fun.
Yeah.
And it's also because a lot of times people that are unique, that are artists, to kind of navigate in the world, there's a level of masking.
Yeah.
When you're in your, I call it civilian face clothes, right? There's a level of having to pretend like you're not like other people, but that you can get by in that world a bit. And it's quite exhausting.
Yeah.
And so to not have to wear that mask and to get to go far into the unmasked, it's and to legally break all the rules and be celebrated for it, and also just like say what you actually think,
and
but
get
deliver
power from that.
Get power from that, deliver it in such a way that it's celebrated. Whereas when I'm dressed like, normal version and not like Courtney or not like anybody, or maybe at times Rose, who's not even really me.
Right.
It's, I relate to what you're saying. It's, for me, a lot of my career, especially like coming out of Charmed, before Charmed, we dressed ourselves. We did our own hair and makeup. I looked fucking cool. I had really cool taste. And then after spending years being dressed kind of to appeal to middle America and beyond, I got really, really lost. My North Star of who I was just like, I was like, what? And then I came out, and at that point, they literally said, like, everybody has to have a publicist, $6,000 a month. Everybody has to have a stylist, $6,000 a month. Everybody has to have a hair and makeup artist. And I at that point, I'd already really quite forgotten. Like, my closet was so strange. Like, later on, I would be like, wait, why did I buy this? Oh, wait, that's that character. That's not me.
Right.
Like, I just got lost, because if you're replacing for 12 to 17 hours a day for pretty much 5 years straight, everything you would think of, do, people you would be around. I'd never been around kind of a money machine in a way, where that was not so much the cast, but a lot of the machine around it. That was the goal, was just that. So like on the table, instead of making it, say, like we were talking about, real for the characters, like, and why these young women would have horrible grandma furniture when they could have anything. I mean, they could have like Henry VIII's like giant Tudor chair. They could have had so much fun in that way too, right? And in some ways, I understand why, because it brings kind of a homey thing to the viewer. I get it, consistency. But like, they had a coffee table book that always drove me insane on set. It made me so fucking furious every time I saw it. I was like, what is this fuckery? And it was like, nothing is real and no one's trying. No one cares.
What was the coffee table book?
Dude. It was The Power of Pittsburgh.
Oh, stop it.
A coffee table book about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Stop it.
In young women's house. What the fuck?
Living in San Francisco.
The Power of Pittsburgh.
I
what?
wonder what. Oh.
And I would literally every time I had a scene in that living room, I would hone in on that. And I was like, you son of a bitch. And I would just get furious, the whole entity around me, the whole machine of like, I could literally be working at a pencil factory. And there was a lot of care from like the actors and people, and I imagine on some level at times the writers, things like that. But like, just stuff like that, I'm like, way to take me out of this environment, this scene that I'm supposed to be playing like is real. Like I'm this magical realism thing that I'm doing. But then I look over, there's goddamn Pittsburgh on the table, a place that, although to be fair, a couple years ago I found myself in Pittsburgh and I was like,
and
the power. No. No.
You're like, I get it now. Finally.
Yeah. Now I understand why some 20-something girls in San Francisco definitely would have no. There was cool architecture though.
Sure.
But I mean, come.
Yeah, it would never have occurred to me how dressing as a character for 4 or 5 years could really influence you, and you go from someone with like one of the most iconic, I'd say, 90s fashion looks,
right,
to
very
time,
confused
fishnet dress, like one of the moments.
That was actually beating.
Was it?
It was beating, and in the limo on the way there, I had to kneel, not because I was giving a blowjob, but because I didn't want,
the beads,
the griddle butt.
Yes.
Yeah, like the print.
Yes. I've had that with stones
Correct.
before. Yeah.
The trick is kneeling.
Okay.
Like kneeling.
Yeah.
And I only wore that on the red carpet and then changed into a different outfit for the rest of the show because, I knew I would have to sit.
Right.
And then you get up and then you have all these, it's like sitting on a chair with the lines.
Yeah.
And that's not a good look.
No.
No.
Wow. Wow.
That was also a huge prank. That was also a couple things. That was one, I'm going with Manson. I got to win. Obviously, this is going to be like a big fashion showdown between us. And two, then I'd found out that the photographers make double. I was always like wondering why they would always yell over the shoulder. So like that would be like they wanted the shot of your head turning, but also your butt at the same time. And it turned out it's because it triples the value of the photograph that they sold.
If they get butt and face at the same time.
Correct. So then I'm like, oh, you want it? All right, let's see what you're going to do.
Wow.
It's kind of like in the end of Gladiator when they're like, are you not entertained? You know, like that kind of thing. Like, oh, what are you going to do now? I didn't quite understand the concept at that point. We were just going into like real electronic media and it living forever. I didn't have that foresight.
Right.
But the slut shaming was insane and it went on and on and on. It was global. It was like as if I disturbed the entire world's view of like, and I was just, but something I have seen, and it's certainly, you know, I mean, they could call it an homage, although almost nobody has said, this is, you know, the inspiration for this, but it's quite obvious when people dress like that for things. But what I have noticed, why it never quite, even if it's a beautiful dress or look, I think probably Rihanna's was the best.
Yep.
That was a beautiful dress, but always down at the level of kind of turning on the invisible crowd kind of way. And I did it as more like you want to play?
Right.
Let's play.
Like chicken.
Yeah, is this what you want?
Right.
All right.
Right.
Let's go. What are you going to do now? How are you going to cover this in your family magazines, in your family papers, over breakfast? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? And it was like kind of like like, you know, like it was kind of like this point of like all the people had called me weirdo freak for like growing up, and then all of a sudden I was beloved, so to speak, by the public at the same time that my interaction with a lot of the public had been quite terrifying for a lot of my life.
Right. And so you're like, you don't actually know me.
Right. And I was like, okay, let's go. Okay. And then there's always the subculture that I was with and was with me until that kind of got weaponized later. But it was very much of like a big challenge. Like, how are you going to deal with this, mommy and daddy? Let's go.
But I guess at one point it like probably turns off so many people, or like turns off the right people, and then also wins you so much credibility with the right people, or the people that you know will get it.
Oh, definitely. But I never really thought too far in advance, to tell you the truth. I was not prepared for I just didn't really, I didn't think it through. I would have done it anyway. Honestly, I can't see any other way of being. I mean, I'm just the way my brain works. But yeah, the intense slut shaming was quite prolific and prolonged. But I think the big difference between that and the different versions of it that have been worn since, it was just that I didn't, later on, when my brain kind of got quite lost in the Hollywood look, I stopped even looking at myself because I was so used to getting hair and makeup and some other clothes that I hated put on me every day. I stopped even noticing what I looked like. I just looked basically weird. I didn't recognize myself. So what's the point of even looking?
Right.
And that's how I wound up just looking weirder and weirder and weirder, like to my eye, and kind of more and more lost in a way. And then, you know, obviously at one point I woke up and got righteously pissed off.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to burn you down.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But also being stalked for that long will eventually piss you off enough to do so too.
Of course.
Like none of this would have had to come to this point if you would have just left me alone.
Right.
And not dismantled project after project or bought off the media to say probably it was part of the slut shaming, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a bit complicated.
And also, I guess something that is positive about now is that if a moment like that happens, you've got the opportunity to speak to people directly. And I guess...
Right. No, there's nothing. No, you had nothing.
You had
so
no
let's
way
say you
of...
even did an interview. You do an interview, but then the headline they would put, the tagline of it, would completely spin it a certain way before anybody, let's say they even did read the interview, right?
Rose, before we wrap up, any suggestions for camp movies that we should cover on this podcast?
Well, have you done Superman 2?
We have not done Superman 2.
Okay.
We have done Supergirl.
Was that Helen Slater?
Yes.
I never saw it.
And
but...
Faye Dunaway.
What?
I would recommend.
That sound should be. Wait, Sarah Douglas, that's her name. So when I was probably, I don't know, 11 and a half, 12, I don't know if when Superman 2 came out, but whenever I saw it, didn't mean that's when it came out. But when I saw it, I remember I was living in this, as I called it, buttfuck Oregon. And everyone used to always say, oh, aren't there always hippies and peace and love in Oregon? I'm like, not in the one I knew.
Right.
In the one I knew, it was trucks made the wheels extra big. All of them had guns. They would often shoot at me with rock salt. It was like guns that shot squares of salt.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, this place was like insane.
Wow.
But I did have one of my all-time favorite lines. At this one military school, they were screaming at me like ugly freak as I was walking down the hall. And I kind of walked through like a queen. And some girl behind me goes, how does she do that? And I turned and I remember thinking I'm breaking the fourth wall. I already knew that term. And I turned and I said, it's simple. You don't exist in my reality.
Oh my God.
And I remember watching her 11-year-old brain just kind of splatter on the wall.
Wow.
But I would definitely, at that time, my fashion icon was Sarah Douglas, I believe that's her name, in Superman 2. When the three people in all black like land on Earth with their upside down cross and they're just here to cause mayhem.
The Kryptonians, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't remember anything about it
Yeah.
except for her cool ass outfit.
Yeah.
I think Terrence Stamp, who rest in peace, just died. He was amazing. He was Zod. And then there was the kind of big, he's probably the sweetest person in the world, but meant to look scary. And then this British actress who had like jet black hair and wore this like killer all black outfit. She was they just stood there like holding their power. And I remember like, yep. I have to show you a picture I found of me. It was my 12th birthday. And I had...
She's in Superman 3.
Oh, was it 3?
And I know...
Oh, not 2.
Yes. She's got the like it's not really a pixie cut, but it's like...
Oh, you have to see the full fashion look.
It's kind of like a mini mullet sort of...
Yeah. Very cool.
Yes. And there's that scene of them when they all get sucked into the negative zone and they're like all spinning into a vortex.
I mean,
yeah,
goddamn, I get sucked into the negative zone almost every day. That's why we avoid media.
And yeah, she's got like the V-neck. It's almost like kind of a karate uniform.
No, but if you see, like it's full. Yeah.
Oh, with a split sleeve.
But if you see them when they land, so this is obviously not quite that. But this was my look. This is me on my 12th birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
On this giant sand dune at the beach in Oregon, which I was protesting being made to go to a beach.
Listeners, I am looking at a side-by-side of Sarah Douglas in Superman 3 and Rose McGowan at age 12. And honestly, it's the same photo. That is incredible. Okay. Well, Superman 3 on the list. Thank you.
Thank you for also telling me it's 3 and not 2. Now I know. She was incredible.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's honestly such an honor and a treat.
Thank you, sweetheart.
And
I had such a blast.
What beautiful stories. What are you working on at the moment? And
well, I'm actually in London. I'm collaborating on this track because of my album Planet 9. I love music. I've always loved music. And I mean, who doesn't really? But I like using my voice in different ways. And I'm kind of, I realized after talking to trees and plants and animals for the last 5 years, it was time to see if I could start talking to humans again. And also, I felt like with my little fluffy dog, she was replacing the volleyball in Castaway. Is that what it was called?
God, yeah.
I was like, wait a second. Minus the scraggly beard, I very much resemble Tom Hanks in Castaway. Oh my God, you're my Wilson. Oh. It's time to put on some shoes.
Right. And so now you're dipping your toe back into London and
civilized society.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well, let's
crumpets.
not get carried away.
Well, I did wind up at a party of yours first, so
yeah. Well, we're
just
so
kidding.
We're
In
so
your beautiful,
glad to have
gorgeous
you.
house and garden. It's been really lovely. Thank you for teaching me about the air fryer.
You know what? If that can be my legacy, I'm very happy.
Chicken.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you back again soon.
Love that.
Thanks, Rose.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Classic. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
No more hangers!
You thought you'd become a prostitute or a drug addict.
I used to love doggy chow. I used to love doggy chow too.